Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly excited to get into this with you today, especially for those of you jumping into your vocational training for animation. You've got the software down, you have this massive creative passion, but to actually succeed in this wild industry, you absolutely need structure. So today, we're unpacking the ultimate foundational roadmap for your future careers, the animation pre-production pipeline.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to move chronologically, starting with a quick intro to pre-production, then hit concept and script writing, jump into storyboards and animatics, look at design and casting, and wrap up with finalizing the plan. Oh, and definitely stick around for a quick pre-production pop quiz at the end.
Okay, let's dive into this, starting with Section 1, setting the foundation with an intro to pre-production.
So what exactly is this phase? Basically, pre-production is the initial, absolute first stage of producing an animated movie, way before the actual animation begins. It's all about developing an idea into a story. Let's say, for a student project, you want to make a short film about, a clumsy space explorer. This is where that tiny spark of an idea starts its real journey. You aren't animating a single frame yet. Instead, you're doing the heavy lifting, the essential groundwork required to make sure your story actually works.
And look, here is exactly why you cannot skip this groundwork. Poor pre-production equals below average animation, poor quality visuals, or worst case scenario, failing to complete the project entirely. So yeah, the stakes here are incredibly high. As vocational students, your time and your resources are super precious. If you just jump straight into animating without a solid plan, your clumsy Space Explorer project might literally crash and burn before it ever reaches the screen. Bottom line, we plan first so we succeed later.
All right, let's see how this actually builds our workflow. Here's a high-level view of the 6 essential creative phases we're breaking down today. 1. Concept. 2. Script writing. 3. Storyboarding. 4. Animatics. 5. Design. And 6. Casting. Getting this mental model of the pipeline locked in your head right now, it's going to save you so many headaches in the studio later.
Moving right along to Section 2, concept and script writing, where we start building the blueprint.
It all begins with concept development. Our source defines this as the process of forming an idea or concept in the mind. It's that classic light bulb moment. This is the very first stage where the story is actually born. It's when you and your crew are brainstorming and someone says, "Hey, what if our clumsy space explorer accidentally initiates a ship's self-destruct sequence just by leaning on the wrong button while holding his coffee?" Boom, that's your concept coming to life. Once you've nailed down that brilliant concept, you move right into the script writing stage. You create a detailed outline, and the full script needs to include 3 key things: dialogue, action descriptions, and scene breakdowns. Honestly, you should think of this written document as the literal blueprint for your animation. Without a rock-solid script, your animators won't have a clue what the characters are saying, what they are physically doing, or even where the scene takes place. Every single action our Space Explorer makes has to be documented right here first.
All right, on to Section 3, storyboards and animatics, where we finally start visualizing the story.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we contrast these 2 vital visual tools. On one side, we've got storyboards. These are sequential, drawn images used to pre-visualize the scenes. They convey the narrative, the action, the camera movement. They essentially act as a visual script to guide the director and animators. But then animatics take that visual script a massive step further. Creating animatics involves turning those static storyboard images into a preliminary animated sequence. This means adding rough timing, temporary sound effects, dialogue, and even music to simulate the final animation. So instead of just looking at a static drawing of our Space Explorer, you're actually watching a rough, timed-out cut of the scene with audio just to see if the comedic timing of that coffee spill gag actually works on screen.
Which brings us to Section 4, design and casting. It's time to bring the world to life.
With the story visualized in the animatic, the animators now need to finalize what everything in this universe actually looks like. Character design involves developing the specific appearance and looks of your cast. Is our Space Explorer tall, short, wearing a bulky retro spacesuit or a super sleek modern one? Then we have environment design, which is all about customizing the settings to make the world the characters live in feel real. This is where your team gets to design the futuristic, yet apparently highly breakable, control room of that spaceship.
But remember, a character isn't just defined by how they look, right? They're heavily defined by how they sound. During pre-production, casting is a crucial piece of the puzzle. Casting finds the right voice actor to bring out the exact personality, tone, and characteristics the animators envision. I mean, if your space explorer is supposed to be super nervous and jittery, you have to find a voice actor who can deliver that specific vocal energy to perfectly match the visual design.
We are almost ready to animate. Let's hit Section 5, finalizing the plan. And this brilliantly illustrates the final organizational checklist before any actual animation begins. First up, team and funds. This means hiring your production team and raising the necessary funds for the project. Next is schedule and budget, which involves setting up a strict production timeline and finalizing the costs. And lastly, the handoff. This is the moment the team finalizes the storyboard and the script and formally hands the whole shebang over to the animators so they can finally start their work. Everything has to be totally locked in place.
Okay, it is time for Section 6, the pre-production pop quiz. Let's test what you've learned today.
Let's start with question 1. What serves as the blueprint for the animation, including dialogue, action, and scene breakdowns? Think back to the very early stages of our pipeline for a second. Got it? Okay, moving on to question 2. Which phase turns storyboard images into a preliminary sequence with rough timing and sound? Remember the major difference between static images and moving sequences we talked about? And our final question, number 3. According to our explainer today, what can happen if you have a poor pre-production process? Think back to those incredibly high stakes we discussed right at the top of the explainer. All right, let's check those answers. Number 1, the script is your all-important blueprint. Number 2, creating animatics is the phase that adds that rough timing and temporary sound to your static storyboards. And number 3, poor pre-production leads to below-average animation, poor visuals, or failing to complete the project entirely. Huge congratulations if you nailed all 3 of those. You are clearly well on your way to mastering the animation pipeline. I want to leave you with this powerful quote directly from our source material today. A successful pre-production process establishes the direction for the entire project. I mean, that really just sums up the ultimate value of everything we've explored, doesn't it? Proper planning is literally the difference between a cool idea and a finished, polished film. So my final provocative question to you is this. As you head into your vocational classes and your studios, how will you meticulously structure the pre-production on your very next animation project to guarantee your vision actually makes it to the screen? Keep learning, keep planning, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.